Good morning. I want to thank Dr. Lin for giving us the opportunity to come and talk to you this morning. We're always thrilled to have the chance to come share what we feel is a very important message about the work going on at UC Irvine and truly around the country and around the world. Yeah, so I'm actually going to let Robin use the microphone because I'm told that I'm very loud. And we also do these programs in a bilingual manner. You may have guessed, I will be delivering the English version, and then Robin will be translating. So say good morning.
All right， 就是早上好，我们很荣幸来到这儿跟大家见面，认识大家。那么我们研究所呢，就是研究的是那个老年失智这个疾病。那么这个呢，已经成为一个全国性或者全世界的一个问题了，所以大家都很重视这个问题。那么 Dr. Gray 呢，他不用麦克风，他把麦克风让给我，如果大家听不清楚，就让他再讲大一点，好吧
？So, how many people speak English? Any French speakers? No, only kidding. Okay, so we're still going to translate, but we'd like to know going in. So this is what we're going to try to do today. We're going to talk a little bit about why we think studying the aging brain is so important. We'll talk about ways to ensure brain health as we grow older. We will talk about brain disease and age-related brain disease, and then we will tell you a little bit about what we do at UCI Mind.
好，那么今天呢，我们主要的就是给大家讲一下，我们首先呢讨论一下，就是我们这个年龄增大了以后呢，那么我们都有一些面临着什么样的挑战，面临着什么样的问题啊？那么就是这个在这个过程当中，那么我们要怎么样来保持我们大脑的健康？那么呢，我们还会介绍一下我们UCI Mind 这个研究所我们的研究的一些具体项目。那么最后呢，大家有问题呢，我们会回答大家的问题。
We live in a very exciting time. People are living longer, healthier lives, and more people are living to increasing ages like the 80s, 90s, and even 100 years old.
我们呢现在是一个很伟大的一个时代哈，因为呢我们人就是我们的年龄就是我们活得越来越长了，那么很多人呢就是到80以上、90以上呢已经是很普遍了。
Babies born after the year 2000 have a better than 1 in 2 chance to live to be 100 years old.
那么就是说2000年出生的这个小孩子，那么他们呢就一半的人呢可以活到100以上，100岁以上。
And for the first time in the history of humankind, there are more older people than younger people.
那么有史以来呢，在这个人类的历史上，就是这个人类呢，我们年长的人呢比年轻的人要多，数量上。
This, of course, makes it very important to understand healthy brain aging and unhealthy brain aging.
那么这样一来呢，就是说，对我们大家来说呢，就是很重要的。我们如果能够了解，就是健康的大脑怎么样健康的发展，或者是不健康的大脑这个分水岭。
When we get older, our brain is at risk. Many things can go wrong.
那么我们在年龄增大了以后呢，我们的大脑呢也会出现一些变化，那么也会出现一些毛病。
This slide lists just some of the problems that can accompany brain aging.
好，那么下面呢，我们就是有些要具体的讲一些有些问题，在你的大脑老化以后，那么都会出现一些什么问题？
A stroke is a blood clot or bleeding in the brain.
那么就是我们所说的中风，那么脑子中风一个是。
Sometimes we have changes in diet or problems metabolizing food when we get older.
那么我们年龄大了以后呢，那么我们的饮食发生了变化，那么我们这个就是身体的消化呀等等这些也会发生一些变化。
Men and women experience changes in hormones as we age.
那么我们岁数大了以后呢，那么我们的这个激素、荷尔蒙，那么它也会有一些变化，不管是在男性和女性都会有一些变化。
Most older people take several prescription medications that can interact and affect brain function.
好，那么我们年长的老年人呢，就是我们会有一些就是处方药啊，吃很多不同的处方药，那么互相之间呢也会有一些问题。
And of course, there are diseases of the brain that become more common in older populations.
那么就是大脑的一些疾病，那么在你岁数年龄大了以后呢，那么这些疾病呢也会变得比较多起来。
The most common question we get when we go into the public is what is the difference between Alzheimer's disease and dementia?
好，那么我们在出去演讲的时候呢，最普通的一个问题呢，大家就是问到哈，那么就是失智症和阿尔兹海默氏。那么我稍微讲一下，我们在中文里面的翻译呢，就是有些把它翻译成老年痴呆，但是现在呢，我们大家就是已经成了共识了，就是说老年痴呆这个呢，就是有一些不太好的意思在里面哈。那么主要就是把它翻译成失智症，失智症和阿尔兹海默氏这两个的区别。
I think she's ad-libbing.
Yeah, that's fine. That's right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Dementia is a clinical syndrome. It means that someone has problems with thinking that prevent them from living life the way they once did.
好，那么就是失智症呢，就是它是一个就是一个临床上的一个我们用的一个词，这个词组。那么它主要呢是包括一个人呢，就是他的这个就是失智这个方面，智力方面的这个丧失了以后呢，已经影响了他的日常生活，这个是一个比较关键的。
Many conditions can cause dementia, can cause thinking problems that interrupt a person's ability to live life. They include things like stroke, hormone changes, malnutrition, and drugs.
好，那么就是有很多就引起这个失智的一些原因，那么包括哪些呢？我们刚才已经提到过一下了，就是中风，就是脑血管、心血管方面的，还有呢就是你的荷尔蒙的变化，还有呢就是你的饮食的变化，还有呢就是你这个吃药，就是多种药的不同的这个影响。
But brain diseases are the most common cause of dementia, and overwhelmingly, Alzheimer's disease is the most common brain disease to cause dementia.
好，那么引起失智的呢，主要呢就是大脑的一些病变哈。那么在大脑这个疾病当中呢，又是阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病，是一些就是以这个疾病为主引起大脑的这些病变。
And so, essentially, every person with Alzheimer's disease has dementia, but not every person with dementia necessarily has Alzheimer's disease.
好，那么我们这样说，就是说是所有阿尔兹海默氏的人呢，都是有失智这些症状，但是呢，并不是所有失智的人都有阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病。
The strongest risk factor for Alzheimer's disease is age. For every 5 years we live after age 65, our risk doubles.
好，那么最大的一个风险因素呢，实际上就是年龄啊。从65岁以上每5年，那么我们的风险呢就会翻倍。
We will tell you about a variety of other risk factors, including the way we live our lives, in hopes that you can use this information to adopt strategies to lower your risk.
那么我们呢，主要讲一下，就是说，在这个生活方式的一些变化。那么根据这些变化呢，那么我们能不能够改变我们的生活方式，来减低我们患这个疾病的一些风险。
We are also learning that certain ethnic or racial populations may be at increased risk compared to Caucasians. This includes African Americans, Latinos, and Asians.
那么我们从研究里边呢也意识到有一些就是特殊的一些族裔、特殊的一些民族，那么他们呢对这个疾病的一些风险呢，就跟那个白人比起来呢，可能是要更高一些他们的风险。
It's imperative for us to figure out why this is the case and to develop better treatments and preventions for all people afflicted with this disease.
那么对我们搞研究的人来说呢，就是很重要。那么我们就为什么会产生这种区别哈？那么我们就要研究不同的族裔、不同的民族。那么这样呢，就使我们呢能够把我们的服务呢，就是把我们的研究呢，就是到每一个种族、每一个族裔。
So what is Alzheimer's disease? It typically presents as problems with memory and other thinking skills like navigation.
好，那么我们所说的这个阿尔兹海默氏，那么它主要症状是什么呢？主要呢就是记忆方面的你丧失记忆，还有就是说你的这个方向方位这些丧失。
Patients may also present with language problems, including producing or interpreting language, as well as challenges in decision making.
那么病人呢，就是他在语言方面的一些能力也会丧失，比如说懂得听别人讲一个语言，能够懂这个语言，或者是自己表述这个语言。
And ultimately, patients with Alzheimer's disease will typically develop problems with all of these areas of thinking skills.
那么就是患了这个阿尔兹海默氏的病人呢，到最终呢，他就是各方面的这些症状都会出现了。
In Alzheimer's disease, the brain is under attack.
那么在这个阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病呢，它就是你的这个大脑呢，就是受到了损伤。
The brain on the right, which is afflicted with Alzheimer's disease, is clearly atrophied or shrunken.
好，那么大家看到这个图上呢，就是在右边的这个呢是阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病的大脑的一个成像那么你明显的跟这个正常比起来呢，它就是有一些萎缩的现象。
This brain attack is characterized by two fundamental abnormalities in the brain tissue.
好，那么这个大脑的病变呢，是由两种主要的一些物质来侵蚀这个大脑。
We call the first senile plaques or amyloid plaques, accumulation of a sticky protein in between brain cells.
好，那么第一个呢，这个amyloid， 我们就用这个英文名字那么它呢是一种蛋白质，那么它是一种很黏糊糊的蛋白质，那么它来影响了这个大脑的这个细胞。
This protein may disrupt the way brain cells communicate with each other and lead to cognitive changes.
好，那么这种蛋白质呢，它就是在影响大脑的细胞，它怎么影响呢？就是因为我们大脑它的这个神经元要互相传递信息，那么有了这个东西在里面呢，它这个传递信息呢就被阻断了。
Ultimately, it may cause cells to degenerate and even die. When this happens, we observe something called neurofibrillary tangles within the brain cells.
好，那么这个呢，就是最终呢，这个细胞呢就会死亡。那么我们看到的呢，就是一些缠结，我们说的就是凝在一起的这种一些我们观察到在大脑上。
We are hard at work to develop treatments that prevent the formation of plaques and tangles or remove plaques and tangles from the brain.
那么我们研究的目的呢，就是希望呢，能够首先呢是怎么样能够来预防这种就是细胞缠结的产生，然后呢，第二步呢就是说如果它产生了，怎么把它去除掉，这个呢就是我们研究的主要目标。
But importantly, as much as 50% of the risk for getting Alzheimer's disease comes from lifestyle choices.
好，那么不管怎么讲，就是说有50%就是到50%左右的，就是这个疾病呢是属于它的就是生活方式的可以改变的一些因素。
And for many lifestyle factors, this has actually been linked back to the presence of plaques and tangles.
那么就是说，很多这个生活方式呢，实际上呢，就是跟你大脑里面产生这些，就是这种蛋白质的缠结或者是蛋白质的斑块是有关系的。
So we'll tell you about these risk factors now.
好，那么下面呢，我们要讲一下这些生活方式方面的这些 情况。
In midlife especially, what is good for the heart is good for the brain.
就是中年以后呢，那么对你的心脏好的这些东西，对你的大脑都会好。
And so, for example, people with high blood pressure in midlife may be at twice the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease as someone with normal blood pressure.
啊，那么我们举个例子说，如果在你的中年时候或者中老年时候哈，那么你的有高血压病的这一组人群呢，那么他就是得这个阿尔兹海默氏疾病的这个机会呢，就会比那个没有这个高血压的呢会翻倍。
It's difficult to see, but this is a picture of the brain's blood vessels. In fact, brain capillaries outnumber brain cells, and we have 80 billion brain cells.
好，那么这张画呢，就看起来有点不大清楚，但是呢，它是一个大脑的一个毛细血管的一个图片哈。那么大脑里面的这个毛细血管是很多很多的。
The brain only weighs 2% of our body weight, but it uses 20% of our blood oxygen and blood sugar.
好，那么就说你大脑呢是你身体重量的2%，但是呢，它用消耗的血液、还有氧气、还有糖，那么它是你整个身体的20%。
And so, keeping a healthy supply of blood to the brain is critical.
那么就是说你要保持一个正常的这个血液啊，对大脑的供给，这个血液呢是一个非常非常重要的。
Vascular problems increase risk for stroke, depression, and now we know Alzheimer's disease.
啊，那么就是脑血管这方面的疾病呢，那么不光是就是对大脑有坏处，那么它也还会就是增加那个抑郁症，还有增加就是阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病的几率。
So you should work closely with your doctor to make sure your blood pressure is in a healthy range.
那么就是要跟医生呢要紧密的联系啊，让你的自己保持正常的这个血压。
Similarly, cholesterol, and especially the bad LDL cholesterol, seems to be a risk factor for later life Alzheimer's disease.
啊，另外一个就是胆固醇，特别是这个低密度的我们说的坏胆固醇，那么对这个老年以后发生这个阿尔兹海默氏疾病也是有很大的关联的。
So again, for many reasons, it's important to work with your doctor to maintain healthy cholesterol levels, including both the HDL or healthy cholesterol and the LDL or lousy cholesterol.
好，那么平时就是要跟医生呢，也要密切的跟医生联系，就是控制自己的胆固醇，就是包括高密度和低密度的2种胆固醇。
But in one recent study, levels of cholesterol were actually related to the amount of amyloid in the brain. Amyloid being the protein that accumulates in the plaques of a person with Alzheimer's disease.
好，那么最近的一个研究呢，就是表明这个胆固醇的这个在身体里边的胆固醇的含量呢，它是跟就是刚才我们讲到过大脑里面这个一些蛋白质的沉积，就是那个是有关系的。
So controlling your cholesterol may be important for your health, your heart, and for your risk for getting Alzheimer's disease.
那么这个把胆固醇控制好，那么对你的大脑、对你的心脏，那么最后呢，对这个控制这个阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病也是会有好处的。
Diabetes is a clear risk factor for the brain.
那么糖尿病呢，也是一个非常大的一个这个危险因素，就是对大脑来说。
It increases risk for stroke especially, and also increases risk for dementia in an all-cause form.
好，那么不光是它就是会引起这个中风，而且呢，它还会引起失智症，就是各种不同的失智症。
Interestingly, Asian genetics may put people in North America at increased risk for diabetes when the North American diet is used by people with an Asian genetic background.
好，那么有的研究表明呢，就是说在北美住的这个亚裔这个族裔，那么对这个 糖尿病，因为他就是吃这个他的饮食变化来到北美以后，那么他这个糖尿病的发病率会比较高。
So again, this is all the more reason to work closely with your doctor if your blood sugar or blood insulin levels are off to make sure you get them into healthy ranges.
所以机上所说的呢，就是我们一定要跟医生，就是一定要保证我们的这个血糖啊，还有这一方面的，要在正常的标准。
All of these things may be related to our body weight and body mass index.
那么这些呢，就是对我们可能我们的身体的这个体重啊，还有我们这个就是指数啊，脂肪指数啊，这些有关系。
Obesity clearly increases our risk for dementia and Alzheimer's disease specifically.
那么就是说，这个肥胖，那么肯定是对这个失智症和一个我们的阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病呢是有很大的关系的。
In one recent study, where people were followed for 30 or 40 years, midlife obesity was the strongest lifestyle risk factor for getting amyloid plaques in the brain later in life.
好，那么最近的一个研究表明呢，就是说在已经跟踪了这些30到40年的这些跟踪研究那么它的结果呢，就说明如果你这个中年以后就是比较肥胖的话，那么它跟你这个大脑的，就是刚才我们说到的那种蛋白质的沉积是有关联的。
In fact, midlife obesity and one other cardiovascular risk factor, be it smoking or high blood pressure, was a greater risk for developing plaques in the brain than was the strongest genetic risk factor for Alzheimer's disease.
好，那么就说是这个，如果是你在一个是有肥胖另外一个呢是你有高血压还有一个呢就是如果是这样，如果你有这样的一些情况的话呢，那么你的这个就是发生这个阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病呢，就是它的几率呢就更高。
So these lifestyle choices may be even more powerful than our genes.
那么这个就是我们所说的生活方式的选择，那么它是比我们的基因还更重要。
And we don't have a slide for it, but don't smoke.
我没有讲到，就是没有提示到就是抽烟这个问题，但是呢，最好是不要抽烟。
Now, our recommendations go beyond avoiding health conditions. There are also proactive things we all can do to lower our risk.
那么我们的这个我们要努力就是改变这个生活方式呢，不光是要避免那些就是不健康的，而且呢要积极的进行，怎么样的做才能够使我们健康的生活。
Dietary choices are clearly related to brain health.
那么就是我们对饮食的选择，对我们大脑的健康，这个是非常重要的。
One of the strongest recommendations we can make is to ensure that you get enough fish.
好，那么最重要的一个建议呢，就是说要吃鱼，这个是非常重要的。
Once a week is ideal, but not getting any is very dangerous for your brain.
那么一般来说是理想的，你每个星期吃一次鱼，但是如果你一点都不吃的话呢，那么对你的大脑的健康是很有问题的。
If you are allergic to fish, you should talk to your doctor about other ways to get these essential elements in your diet.
那么如果你对鱼过敏的话呢，那么应该跟自己的就是医生讨论一下，那么要把这些基本的一些物质，那么怎么样通过其他的方式来吃进去。
Because the omega-3 fatty acids found in fish oil are one of the fundamental components that make up brain cells, and our bodies cannot make them on their own.
因为就是这个我们说的 omega-3 这个鱼油这个东西呢，我们自己的身体不能够产生，必须从外边的食物来添加进来。
It is even better, however, to eat fish as a part of an overall healthy diet.
那么就是说是我们把吃鱼就是做我们整个饮食的一个主要的部分。
There are a variety of diets that are described in the literature. They're known as the Mediterranean diet, the DASH diet to control hypertension, and now more recently something called the MIND diet, which is a combination of the two meant to target dementia specifically.
好，那么最近呢，就是我们在所有的这个研究了还有报告里面啊，它提到3种饮食啊，一种呢是地中海饮食啊，一种呢它叫做 DASH 啊，第3种呢是叫做 MIND， 就像我们 mind 一样的，但是呢这个 MIND 是结合了前面2种，那么它就是特别是说是这种饮食呢，对预防这个阿尔兹海默氏会有很大的好处。
I think Robin said it, we didn't actually develop the MIND diet. Each of these diets can be summarized to say, eat fish regularly.
好，那么就是这几种饮食结构呢，就是我们来总结一下呢，就是说吃鱼要把它作为一个常规的一个食物。
Eat lots of dark green leafy vegetables.
还有呢，就是这些那个绿叶深颜色叶蔬菜。
Eat lots of fruits and foods high in antioxidants.
好，那么就是要水果啊，那么抗自由基的。
Reduce the amount of red meat.
红肉那就尽量少吃。
And avoid foods high in fat and cholesterol, like fast food and candy.
那么一定要就是要避免哈一些高的胆固醇啊、高脂肪的食物。
Numerous studies find that people that adhere to these diets are less likely to get Alzheimer's disease.
那么有很多不同的研究都表明了，如果用这种饮食啊，保持这种饮食习惯的话，那么它就是得阿尔兹海默氏疾病的这个机会就会降低很多。
And the National Institute on Aging has actually funded a clinical trial to see if randomly assigning people to adhere to the MIND diet can prevent Alzheimer's disease.
啊，那么就是说我们的就是老龄部，就是我们国家的老龄部，那么他已经给了一些经费来研究，就是用这个 MIND， 就是我们说的这种饮食结构，那么是不是会防御阿尔兹海默氏疾病。
Another recent observation that has been seen by numerous groups is the importance of a healthy sleep and brain health.
好，另外一个重要的部分呢，就是说是睡眠和你的大脑健康的这个关系。
I like this study, which looked at sleep efficiency and showed that the more efficient your sleep was, the lower your levels of brain amyloid.
好，那么这个研究呢，它是主要说你睡觉的这个效率啊，睡眠的效率跟你大脑的这个那种蛋白质沉积的这个比率。
Sleep efficiency in this study was defined as the number of hours of sleep divided by the number of hours in bed.
好，那么睡觉的这个效率是怎么来算的呢？就是你真正睡觉的那个小时，还有你在床上也不一定睡着的，那么把它就是这个一个比例算下来，那就是睡觉的效率。
Now, other studies have looked at the total number of hours of sleep and find similar things. And what is clear is that not getting enough sleep is not good for our brain.
好，那么其他的研究当然也就是研究你上床睡觉要多少小时怎么样，但是呢，最终大家得到的结果呢，就是你如果睡眠不够，那么对你的大脑是会有很大的坏处。
And so we should all practice good sleep hygiene. We should make sure we're getting a good night's sleep. We should limit the things we do in bed to sleeping and one other extracurricular activity. We should avoid using our iPads and phones in bed and make sure that when our body gets in bed, we've trained ourselves to fall asleep.
好，那么讲到就是这个睡眠的这个健康睡眠哈，这个习惯，那么大家都要养成一个好的习惯，不要上了床以后还要看你的iPad、iPhone 啊，都弄那些那实际上你在床上，但是你没有这个睡眠，所以你的睡眠这个效率也是不够的。
One good way to help us fall asleep is to be very tired at bedtime. Physical exercise helps us sleep, but we're learning it does so much more than that.
好，那么当然了，最好的一个办法就是我们在睡觉前呢已经比较累了哈，所以就很容易入睡。那么就是作为这个锻炼身体，这个做一些锻炼，那么这个是非常重要的。它不单是对这个你的身体、对你的睡眠有好处，还对其他的你的身体方面的健康也有好处。
Again, numerous studies find that people who regularly exercise are at reduced risk for developing Alzheimer's disease later in life compared to sedentary people.
那么就是对比一下，就是比较活跃、比较就是锻炼身体的人跟不锻炼的身体比起来呢，那么发展到这个阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病当然说这个区别就很大。
Exercise helps control many of the risk factors we've already discussed: blood pressure, cholesterol, healthy heart, healthy blood vessels, and improved sleep.
那么锻炼身体呢，就是我们刚才已经提到了哈，它对什么方面有好处呢？就是对我们的大脑供血，这个是很大的。那么还有对我们的心脏有好处。那么另外一个呢，还有我们帮助我们睡觉。
It also does a number of things in the brain specifically. It causes sprouting of new blood vessels in the brain. It causes birth of new brain cells in the brain. It causes the brain to produce proteins that are vital to brain cell health and function.
那么这个锻炼呢，就是因为你通过这个供血，这个大脑充足的供血，那么它就会就是你大脑的这个毛细血管，它就生长更多的毛细血管，然后呢生长更多的新的细胞。然后呢，就是在我们这个保持我们大脑这个健康。
We are often asked the question, how much exercise is enough? The answer is, we don't know.
那么这个锻炼到底要多长时间，或者是怎么锻炼？但是我们没有一个给大家一个数字哈，怎么来锻炼？这个时间是要多少
However, it is clear that getting exercise is important. Something is better than nothing. More is good, but you don't have to run a triathlon to get the benefits of exercise.
好，但是就是说不锻炼是肯定不行的，锻炼肯定比不锻炼好。那么锻炼多少呢？多一点肯定比少一点好，但是呢，也不是说一定要你去搞那个三项铁人那种去那么锻炼哈，就是也是要适度。
Even walking 2 miles 3 times a week has been shown to be beneficial to the brain in well-designed studies.
好，那么就是他在控制研究的这个研究当中呢，如果你每个星期2次，每次走2英里，2-3次，每次走2英里，那么这个呢，你能够坚持这个呢，对你的大脑的健康也是很有好处的。
And UCI is home to a new study to see if exercise can prevent people with memory problems from developing dementia.
那么我们 UCI 呢最近有一个新的研究项目，就是专门研究这个锻炼身体，那么对这个大脑的这个健康，还有防御这个阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病。
In addition to exercising our bodies, we should exercise our minds.
那么除了我们这个体力上锻炼以外呢，那么我们大脑也需要锻炼。
Staying cognitively, socially, mentally active does appear to help maintain healthy brain function.
好，那么如果我们保持我们这个就是大脑的活跃啊，那么另外一个呢，就是要跟别人社交，还有这样的经常交流啊，那么这样呢，确实是已经表明防御这个阿尔兹海默氏疾病。
Again, unfortunately, we can't tell you the right activities to do. Is crossword puzzles better than Sudoku? Is one website's cognitive tasks more efficient than another's? We simply don't know, and we basically make the recommendation to stay active with a diverse array of mental and social activities.
可惜呢，我们就是说不能，我们没有就是资料表明说你们一定要做哪一种锻炼啊，大脑的锻炼。比如说是有一些那个网上啊，它的宣传很多。还有呢，到底是做那个Sudoku好呢，还是做这个 crossword 这个字好哈。那么但是呢，就是说我们呢要建议大家呢，就是要根据你的情况呢，就要做，一定要保持这个大脑的这个就是保持它的活动。
And so we've given you a relatively long list of things that you could consider trying to do to lower your own personal risk for developing brain problems.
刚才呢我们提到了一系列的就是生活方式的改变，那么让大家来这样做了以后呢，然后呢要降低得这个阿尔兹海默氏疾病的这个就是这个危险性。
Unfortunately, we know that even if you do all of these things, some people still develop Alzheimer's disease.
那么就是残酷的事实呢，是我们知道，就是尽管有些人呢，他都生活方式好像没什么挑剔的，他都健康的，但是呢，他还是患了这个疾病。
I often refer to Alzheimer's disease as the most important medical problem we face as a society today.
那么这个阿尔兹海默氏呢，是最难的、最困难的一个医学方面的一个难题，就是我们现在大家面对的一个难题。
There are more than 5 million Americans with Alzheimer's disease.
那么在美国呢，有500万人患这个疾病。
There are more than 15 million Americans providing care to people with Alzheimer's disease.
那么有1500万的人呢，是在提供这个照顾这些患这个病的人。
And the cost of this disease to our nation currently exceeds $200 billion.
那么它的这个花费，那么这个在中文里面应该怎么200 billion 20亿200亿。
And perhaps what's worse, the fastest growing segment of our population is that which is at the greatest risk for Alzheimer's disease.
那么就是说，因为大家就是我们的寿命长了，那么我们相当一部分的人呢，已经面对着这个发生这个疾病的危险。
And so we anticipate that the number of people with Alzheimer's disease will triple by the year 2050.
好，那么到了2050年，那么我们这个患病的人呢，就会3倍，有现在的3倍。
And this could cost our nation $1 trillion annually if that happens.
好，那么这样的这个花费呢，就是一个trillion的这样的一个花费。
And so our organization, UCI Mind, is committed to preventing that outcome.
那么我们呢，就是我们的宗旨、我们的使命呢，就是我们要防治那样的一个结果。
We are a comprehensive research organization composed of more than 40 scientists and physicians from more than 10 different departments at UC Irvine.
好，那么我们这个在 UC Irvine 呢，我们这个研究所呢，是从各个不同的机构、各个不同的系科过来的，那么有40多位研究者。
Perhaps our most fundamental study is what we refer to as the longitudinal study.
我们的最主要也可以说是最重要的一个研究呢，就是我们说的长期跟踪研究。
In this study, cognitively normal people as well as people with memory problems who are of older ages agree to participate annually, undergoing physical and neurological exams as well as cognitive tests.
好，那么在这个研究里面呢，就是每一年，那么我们这些志愿者呢，到我们这个研究项目里面来呢，就是每一年来一次，那么他们就做一个记忆测试，还做一个神经科方面的测试。
This study has helped us understand how brain performance changes over time, both with age and with brain disease.
好，那么这个研究呢，就是帮助我们，因为我们每年他们都有来做，我们跟踪他们，所以呢，就是健康人的大脑和患了这个疾病的人的大脑，那么我们呢，就是看他们每年都有些什么变化，这个呢，给我们收集很多的资料。
We now have even more exciting tools to combine with this study to examine the brain, take pictures of the brain, understand the biochemical changes in the brain.
好，那么现在呢，我们有很多就是其他的方式来帮助我们认识这个大脑，比如说我们用一些影像方面的东西，或者是检查血液啊，检查这个体液呀，这样的方式呢，来帮助我们认识这个大脑的整个变化。
And so this study is becoming more and more comprehensive so that we can identify ways to stop or prevent altogether Alzheimer's disease from happening sooner.
好，那因为我们从各个方面的这个检查这个大脑的变化，那么它呢就是使我们的这个研究进展呢会发展的很快。那么希望有一天我们能很快找到一个方式。
Importantly, this is just one study, and we have numerous types of studies available at UCI.
啊，刚才讲这个长期跟踪呢，只是其中的一个，那么我们还有其他的一些研究。
For essentially all of these studies, we look for altruistic people who want to help. There are some benefits for some studies, including the opportunity to interact with people who've devoted their lives to studying the aging brain.
那么我们希望呢，有更多的志愿者呢参加到我们这个研究里面啊。那么这个呢，就是对个人来说呢，也是一种就是自己就是能够知道自己大脑的变化，自己的情况变化。另外呢，也是对社会的一种贡献。那么也是对大家可以有机会跟这些研究者来做一些接触，知道他们研究什么。
For all of our clinical research studies, and especially studies of potentially improved treatments, the biggest barrier to making advances is low rates of participation.
在我们的研究里边，还特别是一些比如说是临床方面的研究一些药物啊这些。那么我们的最大的一个难题呢，就是因为参加的人比较少。
And in fact, one of my biggest fears is that we will miss a treatment that works for some people with Alzheimer's disease because not enough of those people were enrolled in our studies.
那么我呢最大的一个担心呢，就是有些不同的人群哈，那么我们呢可能在研究当中呢就没有了解到这方面的人群，因为他们没有参加我们的研究，所以呢我们可能就会错过了就是对他们的研究治疗的机会。
It's also critical for us to understand how this disease does or does not differ in different racial and ethnic populations, because that may lead to discovery of treatments that work in specific groups.
那么在我们研究当中呢，我们也是一个重要的，就是说，那么这个疾病对不同的族裔的这个影响，那么不同的族裔、不同的这个它的有这个机体上各方面的不同的结构，所以呢，我们呢需要能够研究这一方面，让大家都受益。
And so we put a great deal of effort into going into the community to tell people about what we're doing and why it's so important, in hopes that more people will want to partner with us in this important research.
那我们呢，就是尽我们最大的努力呢，就是走出去，去到这个社区里边，跟大家介绍我们的研究。那么希望呢，大家呢能够参加到我们这个研究里面来。
Research is always voluntary. You never have to do anything you don't want to do. And when you enroll in a research study at UCI Mind, you are not treated like a patient. You are the most important member in our research team.
那么当然了，我们说的参加研究呢都是自愿的，就是不会有人强迫人参加。但是呢，你参加到我们那个研究里边呢，你就不是我们的病人，你是我们的就是一起的合作者。
There are a variety of ways people can get involved. We have a very constantly updated website that shares information that's listed there, mind.uci.edu. You can call. There are contact cards in the back, and we have a new tool, which we call the Consent to Contact Registry, where people can go online, tell us about themselves, including the types of studies that might be of interest to them. And you are only giving us permission to let you know about studies that we begin. I like to refer to it as a research dating service.
好，那么就是说跟我们联系呢是各种不同的方式。好，我们这样的有那个网址，大家可以上去看我们都做些什么。然后呢，就是可以打电话，这个是一个。另外呢，我们有一些卡在后面，如果你去填一下，就给我们一下你的信息，说一下你对哪一方面感兴趣，那么我们跟你联系。Dr. Gray 把它叫做一个，就是在网站上的这个研究的一个叫什么呢？我中文里面 dating 。
With that, we will say thank you for your attention, and we are happy to take your questions.
好，那么谢谢大家。
Before we take your questions, I just wanted to share a couple of other things. One question I got during the social hour was, how much does it cost to participate in research? And the answer should always be nothing. Research should always be free of charge. And we strive to make it at least cost neutral so that you don't have to pay to park or incur other costs for participating in research.
好，在接受大家的问题之前呢，我想有几个事儿跟大家讲一下。就是刚才在中间休息的时候呢，有人问我说，参加这个研究呢要花多少钱？那么我给大家回答呢是，就是参加研究呢是不花钱的，大家一定要注意这个问题，不花钱。那么我们至少呢，我们要你到我们那儿来研究呢，你也不需要买那个就是停车费啊，什么费用都不用交。
Now, on our website, mind.uci.edu, there's a tab on the top that says Stay Informed. And we maintain a blog. And we are constantly adding to this blog, offering our expertise and opinions about things that are happening at UCI Mind or are in the news. Last year, I wrote a blog and a letter to the editor in the Orange County Register about something that appeared in that newspaper in which people in Orange County were paying a lot of money to quote-unquote participate in research. And I feel that is unethical and quite dangerous. And so if this is of interest to you, I would refer you to looking at our blog or that article in the Register. But at UCI Mind, people are never charged to participate in research.
好，我给大家讲个例子呢，就是说，在我们的网站哈，如果你去到那个，你看到那个，就是保持联系那个里面呢，你去看呢，我们有一个部落格，那么就是Dr. Grill 他写的，那么里面有很多就是跟大家保持联系，然后呢，近期发生了一些什么事儿这些。那么 Orange County Register 那个报纸里边呢，有一次发表了一个文章，就是说他们是做研究，但是呢，他们研究的这个对象呢要付很多钱去参加这个研究。那么 Dr. Grill 就对那边呢发表了一些看法。如果大家想要看一下呢，就在那个地方去找。
The other question I got was about the need for an expert diagnosis and a second opinion in some cases. And
那么下面一个问题呢，就是有人问我说是，那么去找专家会诊，或者是再找听一下第二个意见。那么这个我的看法呢是。
We see a lot of people who have had the same family doctor for 50 years. And that may be just fine. But when memory problems begin or other cognitive problems occur, many people benefit from seeking expert medical care.
好，那么我们知道有些人呢，就是有家庭医生40-50年就跟一个家庭医生，那么这个也没什么问题。但是呢，当你的记忆发生了变化的时候呢，那么还是应该去找一下专家看看。
Many primary care physicians, family doctors understand Alzheimer's disease, but in general, we do recommend that people try to see someone who's trained to deal with the aging brain. And that would include a geriatrician, a geriatric psychiatrist, or a neurologist.
好，那么很多家庭医生呢，他对这个阿尔兹海默氏呢也有一些认识，但是呢，如果是具体到这是记忆的问题呢，我们还是建议大家呢找一找专家方面的，就是很多人呢就是受过这方面的特别的训练，比如说是老年医学的专家啊，还有这个老年心理神经学方面的专家看一看，这个是最好的选择。
With that, I think Robin and I would be happy to take your questions, if there are any.
那么下面呢就可以看看我们的问题。第一位
I have two daughters graduated from UCI.
Congratulations.
One ended up, two doctors from Georgetown University. The other one, two masters from Columbia University. So always I refer people to UCI. I said, that's a good one, because University of Chinese Immigrants. So UCI, but my question is...
Oh, that wasn't it? Just for the people in the back who couldn't hear, this gentleman...
How many percent of Chinese population there, student, actually UTI better, University of Taiwanese? Yeah.
I don't know the percentage.
Taiwanese, I'm Taiwanese, not Chinese, but anyway, Asian. Asian.
I'm not going to answer your question, but what I can say is that at UCI, we are now one of the top 10 public universities in the nation, 2 or 3 years running now. We're very proud of that. We are also extremely proud of the diversity of our student body. And much like California, UCI is approaching a place where there will be no majority from an ethnic or racial standpoint. And so the chancellor of the university, Professor Howard Gilman, has put tremendous energy into creating a diverse and open community at UCI, and he's done an excellent job. And that's as close as I can come to answering your question.
If we are interested in participating in this kind of research, how much time we have to get involved?
Yeah, so the question is, how much time is involved if you want to participate in research? And the answer is that it really varies from study to study. I've done studies in which we ask people to come in and participate in a single interview for an hour. In the extreme opposite end of our spectrum, we have Alzheimer's disease prevention clinical trials that ask people to come once a month for 4 years or longer to take a drug or a placebo to see if that drug can reduce or delay the onset of memory problems. And so it really is a full spectrum with everything in between. You know, we have studies where people come in and do memory testing and have a brain scan, and that's it. We have studies like the one we talked about where people come in only once a year, but we ask them to do that for the rest of their life if they are open to it. And so it's a very rich research environment with a lot of different types of studies going on. And what we really hope to do is match people with the right study for them. And so the registry that I talked about, c2c.uci.edu, lets people tell us about what kinds of things would be of interest to them, what they're willing to do in a research study, and hopefully we can match people to the right study for them. Because in my world, the best case scenario is that everyone who wants to do a study, we have a study for them. It's not always as easy as that, but there is a lot going on. And there's no way Ruobing could possibly translate all of that.
Simple. Yeah.
I have an important question.
Oh, okay.
I hope you talk about something about the stem cell treatment, because it just approved from FDA last year. And the cost of just medicine only is about price of the house. And I know we can probably get the free from you.
Well, so the question is about stem cell therapies. And there's a lot of exciting research into stem cells. And much of it is happening at UCI. We have a stem cell center. Many of the UCI Mind faculty are also faculty in the stem cell center. And there are even some clinical trials of stem cell therapies for Alzheimer's disease and other brain diseases. Now, importantly, no stem cell treatment has been approved by the FDA as a treatment for Alzheimer's disease. And in fact, one of the blogs I was referring to was a response to a stem cell treatment for Alzheimer's disease. I personally believe that stem cells may be very important tools for understanding Alzheimer's disease. They may lead to treatment development, but we really don't know what that will look like yet. Stem cells hold promise in a variety of medical conditions, including other brain diseases, but as you point out, even other medical conditions. And so, a rich area of research for Alzheimer's disease, no FDA-approved treatments, no scenario in which someone should feel like they should pay to gain access to a stem cell therapy for Alzheimer's disease or any other brain disease.
好的，就是刚才这一位先生问的呢，就是说干细胞的研究哈。那么干细胞的研究呢，最近呢就是被就是大家都做的很多哈。那么干细胞的研究呢 ，Dr. Green 呢就解释了一下呢，就是当然了，干细胞可以有希望，可能今后呢治疗很多疾病啊，在这个医学方面呢是一个很重要的一个东西。但是呢，对于阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病呢，现在还没有任何正式的干细胞这个研究可以治阿尔兹海默氏这个疾病。所以呢，我们认为呢，就是说有些机构他也宣传了，他说是我们给我们多少钱啊，付多少钱，我们可以用干细胞跟你治疗。但是那些人都是没有实际的临床实验的根据的，所以呢，大家呢对这方面呢一定要警惕。
You mentioned about the longitudinal research. Can you give us some examples of those research?
Yeah.
And the benefit of participants, potential benefit.
So the best example of longitudinal research is our hallmark study of memory performance over time. And so in that study, we have more than 300 people who are committed to coming back annually. And I think about 70 of them right now are Asian. And so we have a focus on trying to increase Asian representation in the study so that we can compare and contrast. To be in that study, you come in essentially once a year. It could be broken into 2 visits, or it could be one somewhat long visit. You sit down, and there was a picture of a person sitting across a table from an individual with a clipboard and a stopwatch. They were participating in cognitive testing. They were having their memory tested, their ability to perform language tasks, things like mazes on a paper, fun games for the brain. In that study, we also ask people to have blood draws once a year. We invite people to donate skin, which we can use to create stem cells with the same genetic background as the donor. We invite people to have brain scans in the form of MRI, which is a kind of like a picture of the brain with no radiation involved. We also now are frequently asking people to do PET scans, which is injecting something into the blood that is slightly radioactive. That something rushes to the brain and shows us something about the brain, and we take a brain scan to picture what it shows us. And then lastly, maybe not lastly, we invite people to do lumbar puncture or spinal tap, which is a way to gain access to the fluid that bathes the brain. It's very safe, and it's as close as we can come to measuring protein levels in the brain. And then lastly, we invite everyone to consider participating in autopsy research. So the best case scenario is that someone participates in our study for many years. In fact, we have people who participate for decades. And then when they pass away, they give us the opportunity to examine their brain. Now, some of these things are optional, some are not. We are moving towards fewer things being optional, but right now, the only things that are required would be neurological and physical exams every year, memory tests and other cognitive tests every year, and a blood draw. We require the blood draw? Yeah. The other things for now are optional, but the more people participate in, and the greater proportion of people in the study who do as many things as possible, the faster we learn. And it is as simple as that. So we are very hopeful that people who want to do the study will want to do as many of those things as possible.
Let me just...
Potential benefit.
I'm going to let her, and then I'll come back to
I'll
that.
just briefly summarize what's the program. 我就是简单的先讲一下，刚才讲到这个就是长期跟踪研究嘛。 长期跟踪研究的这个基本的一个要求呢，就是说，参加者呢就是每年来一次，那么来了一次，这个当中呢，他就要做一个记忆测试，那么这个记忆测试大概是1-2个小时，然后呢做一个神经科的检查。那么这个同时呢，我们还邀请这个参加者呢，就是给我们捐一点血，我们就是查一下血里面的一些特殊的一些蛋白质，然后呢，希望呢有一天呢，我们这个用血可以来诊断这个疾病啊。另外呢，还有就是可能有的机会呢，我们可能会邀请鼓励大家呢，就是捐一点这个我们说的脑积液。脑积液呢，就是通过一个做一个穿刺，那么抽一点脑积液出来呢，那么也是做一个研究，因为这个脑积液呢是最能反映你大脑的这个健康。另外呢，还有可能性呢，就是说是我们会邀请你做一个大脑的这个MRI， 去看一下大脑的这些变化。那么最近呢，我们还新加了一个就是另外的一个影像啊，那个影像以后呢，我们可以看到大脑里边的一些蛋白质的沉积啊这些。当然了，这些呢并不是说是每一个都是要求大家做必须做的，就是有些呢是必须做的，有些呢是我们建议大家做，但是呢你不一定说是一定要做所有的这些东西你才可以参加。好，那么我们是有300多个这个长期跟踪研究者呢，里面有70左右的就是亚裔，所以呢我们邀请更多的亚裔来参加我们这个研究。下面呢这个问题是就是说对参加者的有些什么好处？那么对。
In order for research to be ethical, there must be a balance between risk and benefit. The most consistent and biggest benefit of our research is that we will learn something. We rarely have guaranteed benefits offered to the people who participate. There are what I would view as peripheral benefits. You get to be a part of a team. You get access to experts. In our case, I think it's fair to say world-renowned experts. Get your questions answered. You are on the cutting edge of science. If we learn something new, you learn something new. We put effort into showing our deep appreciation for the gift of participation. We have thank you events, celebrations, sometimes very small token gifts, but usually not much more than that. There's no payment in most cases. There are some cases that are exceptions to that. Whenever we can, we love to give coffee mugs and t-shirts. But it's really about contributing to something bigger than yourself.
好，那么我简单的翻译一下，就是说对做研究来说呢，这个呢就是说我们的当然了，就是这个互利这个呢，就是说有时候呢就不一定那么分得那么清楚哈。就是我们呢就收集资料，那个我们呢就是作为前沿的研究，那么我们能够对这个疾病呢做出一些研究呢，收集资料以后呢，我们能够尽快的找到这些方法，那么这个是对研究方面。那么对于参加者来说呢，就是说我们从来也不会说是你来，我说我们给你什么给你，确实我们没有什么东西可以给的，但是呢，就说你作为参加者呢，你可以接触就是最优秀的这个研究者，而且呢，你接触最新的进展，就是因为你是成员之一了，那你知道最新的进展是什么？我们对于这个疾病的研究哈。那么当然了，就是我们就是每年呢，希望呢能够有几次就是大家的这个聚会呀、节日聚会呀，或者是来感谢大家那么最主要的还是大家对这个研究的一个贡献了，就对自己的一个贡献，一种成就感。好。
I guess one of the potential benefits is to understand myself better.
Yes, I have actually published multiple papers that people want to participate in research to gain access to information about themselves. And we share as much as we can, although we can't share everything. So one of the things that people enjoy most about the longitudinal study is hearing how they are doing on their memory testing and other cognitive tests. And that is something that we share annually with people who enroll in that study.
刚才这个最大的一个就是说是我对自己的了解了，参加一年的，那么对自己有更清楚的了解。那么 Dr. Greer 也说，就是说，他呢在这方面也发表了很多文章，就是说是参加者到底这个他的一些状况啊，他的一些感受啊这些东西哈。那么就是我们参加这个长期研究呢，每年呢你会得到一个很详细的报告，就是关于你自己在这个测试当中。那么我们也有这样的例子，就是说大家来了以后测试完了拿到这个报告，哎呀，我今年还是跟去年一样，还是跟前5年一样，就是一种很高兴的一种心情，就是知道自己，了解自己。
In your study, do you just treat the entire group of participants and do correlation statistical analysis, or you divide them into 2 control group and test group? If you divide them into 2 groups, those in the test group already diagnosed with Alzheimer, are they allowed to continue their treatment, or they have to stop any treatment?
Okay. So again, we have lots of different types of studies. In the longitudinal study, we follow as many people as possible, and then we can create our own comparison groups. How do Chinese people compare to Caucasian people, for example? How do people with Alzheimer's disease compare to people without Alzheimer's disease? However, in essentially all of our treatment studies, we will randomly assign people to 2 or more groups and give half or a third one drug, half or a third another drug, half or a third a placebo. And then we have very rigorous gold standard comparisons. Importantly, our clinical trials are now performed in people who have Alzheimer's disease, in people who have mild cognitive impairment, or in potential preventative therapies, so people who have normal memory. In trials done in people with Alzheimer's disease, again, it can vary from study to study, but in most studies, participants are not only encouraged, they are obligated to stay on their approved medications so that we know how to interpret the data about the drug we're testing.
好，简单的总结一下，就是刚才这个问题呢，就是说，那么我们做研究的时候有不同的小组，比如说是对照组啊，那个测试组啊这些哈。那么现在的问题呢，就说是那么如果有的已经诊断了，他已经原来在吃药了，那么要不要他停药或者怎么样？那么简单的一个回答呢就是我们不要他停药，如果他已经诊断了，那么他应该是保持他已经医生开的药继续吃，所以我们能够正确的来观察他。
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. One is you encourage people to eat fruit, and my experience with eating fruits is increase the blood sugar level, which is not good for diabetes. Yeah, which is not good for diabetes, and if you have diabetes, it's not good for this Alzheimer's disease. The second is you mentioned that the Asian. The American diet is not good for Asian Americans. In what aspect they are not good for Asian?
Yeah. So let me make one very broad statement, which is for all the things that we recommended, some are easy, right? Get your exercise is a good recommendation. But even for get your exercise, we would strongly recommend you work closely with your physician before you introduce major changes in your lifestyle. Obviously, before you think about changing drugs or other medical things. If you happen to meet some of the conditions we talked about today, diabetic, hypertensive or pre-hypertensive, hypercholesterolemia, all the more reason to partner with your doctor and talk about the things we talked about today. So that's a broad statement. Fruits are, in fact, high in sugar. It's a good sugar by and large, but it's a sugar nonetheless. And there are specific fruits, like berries especially, that are the best sources of antioxidants. So there could be some strategic choices made, again, in partnership with your doctor, ideally. The Asian American genetics versus North American diet is really quite interesting. I wouldn't call myself an expert in this topic, but there are multiple studies not limited to Asians. So in fact, African Americans may differ from Africans in the effects of particular genes that seem to increase risk for Alzheimer's disease, but differ based on whether someone is African American or African. So I think that this is an area that needs greater study, and both for Asians and African Americans, as well as other racial and ethnic groups. One of the challenges is that we don't have enough of those groups in our studies to explore this more fully. And there are differences in the literature that have been identified about genetic risks on their own, and we really haven't even scratched the surface for what might be termed epigenetic findings, the interaction between genes and lifestyle choices or environment. So all the more reason, I think, for us to try to diversify the people who are participating in our studies. Yeah.
Yeah, about a year ago, I saw a Japanese NHK program about Alzheimer's disease, and it places a lot of importance on the walking speed. So there's a strong correlation between how fast you walk and your likelihood of getting Alzheimer's disease, and they even use that to treat people with Alzheimer's disease. So is there any kind of recent understanding, or is that really an effective way to deal with Alzheimer's disease?
Yeah, every year there's a big splash in the news after our conference about gait, the manner in which we walk, the speed that we walk, suggesting that it may be predictive of Alzheimer's disease or other brain diseases. I think in some cases these findings may in fact have sensitivity. It may be that you can pick up change in someone's gait early who is potentially destined to develop Alzheimer's disease, but I think they often lack specificity. The observation doesn't necessarily mean that the brain disease is present. So very few of these things have held up to replication and larger studies, and science is replication. So a small finding may see something. A number of things come to mind, including even blood tests for Alzheimer's disease, gait, smell, a variety of other things that are going to be the magical new diagnosis. But right now, none of them have held true. I hope some of them do, but it'll take years of research.
In light of predictive medicine and precision medicine, big data and machine learning has been deployed, for contemporary research.
Yeah.
However, look like your sample, only 300 something.
Yeah. So what?
I wonder, did you collaborate with your colleague, try to using big data?
It's a great question. So big data is all the rave. I agree. For 30 years, we've collected data like what I described on 300 people, and then we deposit that data into something called the National Alzheimer's Coordinating Center. And that's currently at the University of Washington in Seattle. And so we combine our data with data from the other NIH-funded centers of excellence. And there are 30 centers like ours in the United States. And so the point of that is just as you suggest. If we want to ask a scientific question, rather than ask it with 300 people, we have the opportunity to ask it with 14,000 people. And there's great power that comes from that. And I think this has been a long-standing operation, but now we're seeing even more opportunities for big data as people deposit their data into repositories so that every investigator around the world can do that. And I think we're very fortunate to work in a highly collaborative field. And so we really view ourselves as part of a large international network of people committed to doing something about this disease. I can't pick people. Let's go to people who have not had a chance yet.
From your slide, I see the normal brain can, you can see deteriorating very much.
Yes.
And just this couple of years, I can feel, for my case, for example, I'm in the kitchen and want something in the garage, and when I went to garage, and I can't remember like, and I have to go back and then see more and then go back again. And then you know what I feel in this couple of years, I can feel my head, my brain, always with a click or some shut. And I was wondering, would that be possible? It will give you the symbol and tell you, this is I'm just kind of. Was that possible?
Yeah. So a number of responses. First, when we age, our bodies change. Did anyone know that? When we age, our brain changes too. Our brain actually does shrink a little, a very little, when we get older. And we will experience normal changes in our cognitive abilities when we get older. Things that may have gone very fast when we were young may take a bit longer. And memory could change as well. And if you go to a room to get something and then don't remember what you were going to get, it doesn't mean you have Alzheimer's. That said, we now understand that Alzheimer's disease begins at least a decade before the diagnosis. And much of our research is focused on identifying people who are at greatest risk for someday developing Alzheimer's disease in hopes of staving it off with therapies. It may be that someday we treat Alzheimer's disease more like we treat high cholesterol. We do a blood test or a brain scan. We say your amyloid levels in your brain are slightly higher than we would prefer them to be. We're going to start you on an amyloid lowering drug to prevent you from having a brain attack rather than a heart attack. That is likely the way of the future. And we are now doing the research to get us there. And so a number of tests, brain scans, potentially blood tests, certainly assessment of the cerebrospinal fluid assessed in a lumbar puncture are among the most promising ways to detect people who are in those earliest stages of brain change.
Let's get this little summary.
So I think we're getting a bit low on time, so maybe one or two more. Would that be?
Yeah, just this question is the answer. I just said the answer. If you go to another room and look for something and you forgot and then you have to come back. Yeah, as we age, those change. Some of them change like a normal thing. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You're not expecting me to do that.
That's interesting. 就是说这个你那个你去一个房间哈，不知道拿什么东西了，结果这个要回来再去，这个是很多人就是年纪大了一点都会有这种经验感。所以呢，他就是没有那个，就是说这个事儿呢，就是说你不是说是你就得了阿尔茨海默斯这个阿尔兹海默氏了啊。那么主要呢，我们现在的一些研究呢，就是有些呢是属于你大脑肯定是会变化。那么比如说比起年轻来呢，你动作是慢了一些，反应的速度是慢了一些。但是呢，这个并不是说你就得了那个病，这个呢就是说，我们就是花一点时间长一点而已了，就是学一个新的东西啊。那么现在呢，但是有一个问题呢，大家要提醒大家，就是说，这个在诊断之前，至少是10年前，实际上这个病已经有了。那么现在呢，我们主要是想要早期诊断、早期防治，往这个方向来发展。那么早期诊断呢，主要是我们比如说是验血呀，还有验那个脑积液啊，还有做一些照片啊这些东西。那么这个是我们努力的方向，就希望有一天呢，比如说我们说，你的这个胆固醇高了，那么你要怎么注意的用药了？那么比如说我们说你大脑里面的这个蛋白质那种特殊蛋白质高了，那么我们可以有药给你，让你降低这个蛋白质。好，就这样。
My
I was thinking that Robin and I had done so many of these together that suddenly I was understanding.
My point is, when the brain gives you a simple thing.
No,
No.
no. We often describe Alzheimer's disease as an insidious disease. That means if someone has Alzheimer's disease in their family, and you ask a family member, when did it begin? They can't tell you. They can't say it began on this date. It's impossible to deduce the start of the disease. So one last question.
Okay. The benefit of treatment, of course, outweigh the side effect. However, what are the side effects so far? Can you?
Yeah. So the question is about the balance between treatment benefits and side effects. And the answer is that all drugs have side effects. Side effects happen primarily for two reasons. The drug does something you want it to do somewhere you don't want it to do it, or it does other things you don't want it to do besides the thing you want it to do. And for all drugs this happens. The extent or severity of side effects are going to vary from drug to drug. I think most of us believe that if a drug can successfully halt the progression of Alzheimer's disease, there are certain risks that will be worth taking because that will have such a meaningful impact on public health. Obviously, we always look for drugs that have the least side effects and the most benefit, but it always comes down to a very specific drug-by-drug consideration.
好，最后一个呢，就是说这个药物的那个副作用。那么你如果治一个病，那么它还有个副作用，那么这个副作用我们怎么考虑的？当然了，所有的药物这个都有副作用，但是呢，我们就是要把这个它的这个是利益大于副作用呢，还是利于小于副作用？那么我们选药的时候呢，我们做实验的时候呢，那么尽量是选那些就是利于大于副作用，就是这些药物来治疗这个疾病。简单的说一下。
Thank you again.
Thank you for this wonderful presentation. I think this important information is very beneficial to our audience. And we take this opportunity to thank you all, Dr. Greer and Ms. Lee and another Ms. Cox for their coming, and thank you very much. Okay.